Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Do More with Less workshop. I'm Nicole, one of the pre-sales consultants here at Bytes, and I will be joined shortly by my colleague Tita, who's had a last-minute patch update that needed to be installed. Um, we're just going to give it another minute or two because there's still a few people joining, and then we will get going.
Okay, hello everyone. Um, and Nicole, my colleague, has done the intros, so we've just gone after 10, so I think we get the ball rolling. So we're here to talk about the Do More with Less workshop with Microsoft 365. So what can you gain? What efficiencies can you gain using the Microsoft 365 suite of applications? So let's get the ball rolling now. So roughly the agenda, we're going to be kind of talking about all about 365, do more with less, and the best way to illustrate how to make the most out of the 365 applications is to kind of talk you through high value scenarios. So we'll be talking about how you can improve your productivity through easy collaboration. Um, we'll talk you how you can use 365 to retain and develop your top talents. We'll talk about how you can also spend more time with customers, how you can be more efficient in by using parts of the application to address the admin repetitive tasks, instead of you doing it and then freeing your employees to engage more with customers, with your business. We'll talk about the flexibility, opportunities, or options that come with M365 in this hybrid work we live in now. And then we'll also talk about the security elements that come with 365. So this little graphic here on the right hand side is it's basically what it's doing. It's showing you where we are right now. So we live in a hybrid world, and what that means is organizations need applications to address the different hybrid challenges, whatever they may be. So whether it's to do with having applications to enhance the meeting experience, or having phones, um, or something to do around security, having an app for analytics. So the bubbles represent the fact that, you know, that it could be a case of you having to invest in a variety of applications with and deal with all the challenges that come in terms of integration, in terms of upkeeping of licensing that comes with it. And what Microsoft can do is reduce that challenge by kind of consolidating all those applications to to be available under your one investment, which is at Microsoft 365. And having that one solution will reduce complexities and will reduce the costs, because instead of having multiple applications, you're investing on the one application which has capabilities to address all of those things. So those bubbles representing kind of different work streams. And that's all part of the hybrid world we live in. We're needing to have these tools in place to ensure we can be productive. And so that's what Satya Nadella was saying in his quote there, that they're in a good position to kind of help you do more with less so that you can be more productive in this hybrid space. Okay, so apologies. Oh, there we are. So when we talk about do more with less, what do we specifically mean by that? Well, on the left-hand side, elimination of redundant solutions. So it's an opportunity to kind of consolidate your complex licensing structures. So you may have, for argument's sake, 20, 25 different applications doing different things. Maybe review those features and kind of investigate the possibility of those being at those solutions working in M365. In other words, M365 doing what those applications do. So you can reduce the number of other applications you have out that you have to manage. So you kind of doing that. And by doing that, you're also doing things like cutting down on consulting and deployment and integration costs because you're utilizing applications that sit within the M365 suite of applications. So one of the drivers to do more with less, or one of the things you could achieve, is the eliminating redundant solutions. What about IT management? So when it comes to managing your IT department, managing the deployment, the repurposing of applications and devices to employees, these steps can be quite cumbersome and manual and time consuming. And again, with M365, several steps of those workloads can be automated. So automating system updates, improving IT efficiency for new device apps and infrastructure, simplifying the onboarding and provisioning of devices to employees. So automating all those things again frees up your IT workforce to be more innovative and work on other things and not be burdened down with the repetitive but essential things that they need to do in terms of provisioning devices or deploying updates and so on. So you can, with M365, there are features there that allow you to kind of automate those activities. And then on the right-hand side, we talk about protecting the digital worker. So yes, the hybrid world means we can work from anywhere as long as we've got an internet connection. But that doesn't mean the security side of things should be put to one side or not prioritized. And Microsoft have invested a lot of money in the security side of things. And again, with 365, there's an opportunity for you to kind of reduce your data breaches, reduce the security costs by investing in multiple security applications and instead benefiting from the security solutions that are present within M365 with the various licensing models. So again, it's about having that centralizing these capabilities to protect your digital worker. So things like zero trust architecture, having that advanced feature so that your devices, your users are protected when they're accessing their work from wherever they are. And so when we talk about do more with less, the kind of things that we're going to talk about in the workshop today is around things like, securing your access to the connected world, improving your productivity through collaboration, the flexibility features and options for your employees now that they're in a hybrid way of working, how you can spend more time with your customers, how you can be more productive by automating repetitive and time-consuming tasks, and then features as well to help you retain your top talent, and recruit and bring in the top talent from your, dare I say, from your competitors, because it is in a competitive world we live in, right? So we're going to be talking about the M365 offerings that touches all those spaces. Okay, I'm just going to take control. Right. So when we talk about reducing complexity, what I wanted to illustrate with this slide is, and I won't go through it all, but it's just to give you a kind of an understanding of what customers are kind of looking to gain from going into the 365 world, M365. So things like operational efficiency is a very popular benefit that customers are kind of embracing or making the most out of from M365. Cost efficiency. So I already talked about, reducing your vendor landscape because you've got that functionality with M365. So those are the kind of things that customers would like to consolidate. Faster time from problem to solution. So dealing with technical issues, it's within the one platform, so it's easy to kind of track and address the issue. Integration between applications, again, there's less of that. That isn't much of a challenge because most of the solutions are within M365, so they're already by design built to be able to kind of talk to each other. But for me, what really stands out is the improved user experience, that on the right-hand side, because it goes without saying, a company isn't anything without their employees being on board, being happy, being motivated, wanting to go to work. And if your employees are really happy with the way their devices are working, the way their results are, the way they can easily access their applications. So that statistic of 74% of workers enjoyed improved end user experience. It's taken a lot shorter time for things to be resolved when there are issues, and that translates to a happy employer, a productive employer. So these stats, which were conducted by Forrester on behalf of Microsoft, it's almost like some sort of insight for you to kind of understand what are the benefits that other employees are seeing and what are the things that organizations are looking for when we're talking about looking to consolidate. And then on the top kind of things, reduce time spending managing devices by 18%, by consolidating with M365, or improving efficiencies by up to 50% around, by using the automation, telemetry, threat remediations. All these things are beneficial to your organization, reducing the redundant solutions and consolidating. So those are sort of the insights that we just wanted you to be aware of in terms of customers who have gone down that journey in terms of consolidating with M365. And again, some of the things the customers are saying, the key ones are highlighted in bold, whether it's much simpler, so something that's simple for someone to use, allowing us to focus on generating more revenue. So that points towards productivity, that points towards spending less time doing monotonous tasks. Cost saving impact, so it may be that they're consolidating their license profile, reducing the number of licenses because M365 does half the things that the other applications were doing anyway. Saving time that otherwise would have been spent on mundane tasks. So that's a kind of a feel of the things that customers are saying that have gone in that journey. And kind of key questions for you to think of is, what's your vendor landscape? How many are you looking to consolidate the number of and just have some key strategic vendors as opposed to a high number which are difficult to manage? So are you looking to consolidate your vendor landscape? Or in terms of hybrid working, how are you adapting to the hybrid way of working? How are you connected to your employees? Are you meeting expectations? Or how are you, or if it times in terms of aligning your employees to your company objectives, what investments have you made in technology to ensure that the things that your employees are doing are aligned with your company goals and they've got visibility to what your company objectives are? Or when it comes to managing your devices, um, how are you doing that, and what impact is it? Is it taking long? What feedback are you getting from the users? Because these are the kind of questions that would lead you to have these discussions with ourselves in terms of where you can start on that M365 journey. And these aren't just them. There are a lot more questions, but I'm just giving you a flavor of them. So when we talk about the first area, productivity through easier collaboration. So yeah, Microsoft, since the pandemic, Microsoft Teams has grown in terms of its usage, you know, but it's something that we're all familiar with. So whether it's chat, calling, collaboration, and so on. But it's also worth noting that, there are other features that M365 offers. So if you're using SharePoint, things like co-authoring in real time, so you can collaborate effortlessly. You don't have to wait for someone to save a document and then before you can go in and then start working on it. You can work on it at the same time and so on. Windows 11 is making it easier for you to easily access your go-to sharing collaboration tool, which is Teams. So there's a little taskbar that allows you to quickly access Teams. And then things like Viva Goals to kind of improve that adoption, improve that understanding in terms of your end users understanding where the company is, what the company's objectives are, and how do they relate to what you're doing, and how are those objectives progressing throughout the year. And then, of course, with Teams telephony, so beyond the collaboration that Teams offer is also a telephony solution for organizations, whether you're calling someone from your phone, your tablet, your desktop, your desk phone. It's that integrated solution. You don't have to kind of think about it. It's just there. It integrates with your device. Then we'll show you a quick video on those kind of capabilities. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about the collaboration features with Teams and what Microsoft have introduced to kind of improve that experience from a presenter or from an attendee. What things are there that can make the experience more engaging? And then the second half of this mini section, I'll talk to you about the telephony offerings and what Microsoft has in this space. So of course, it's all about being able to accomplish everything on the go when you're in these calls, whether you're on the go on your phone, whether you're in the office, or whether you're at home. Empowering everyone to feel connected, feel included in those conversations. I mean, statistically, this was a survey conducted by Forrester. Meetings have increased significantly over the last year, but along with that has also what we've been termed as unstructured communications. So ad hoc unstructured meetings are on the rise, a lot of chat, a lot of meetings, a lot of team calls, and that can lead to that brings challenges in itself in terms of being able to be on top of the things and understand who said what, understand what the actions were from the meeting, and so on. Um, Look at the statistic here. um, the average team user is sending 45% more chats per person per week than they did over a year ago. So we are using Teams a lot, but with that, there's been the challenges, the fact that we're in this kind of digital overload era where there's so many ways to collaborate with people that sometimes there needs to be some sort of structure to make that experience more effective. And Microsoft have got some features in there within Teams. So if we talk about the process of having a meeting, right? So when you have a meeting beforehand, you can collaborate with your co-workers, with the attendees, with the people who are going to be in the meeting. You can collaborate with them in terms of the agenda or the stakeholders of that meeting, so that you know what you're going to be talking about, and it's a structured engagement and effective. So that there isn't, can that 1 hour meeting be really 45 minutes if we stick to the agenda? So having that interface within Teams to allow you to collaborate with your your co-presenters or the people who are running the meeting, so that everyone is on board in terms of what's happening. But not just that, during the meeting, we need to be able to effectively collaborate, effectively capture notes and um, actions that were raised. So things like whiteboarding, annotation that allows you to annotate content on the screen. All attendees can contribute to that, so that you have that brainstorming session. So think of the way people used to collaborate in the physical days, whereby you'd go into the office, you'd have a whiteboard, you'd have sticky notepads, notes that you put all over the place, but it would still be an effective session, right? But then you then get someone taking a picture of that and then saying, I'll send that in an email to all of you later, and then we can take it from there. Well, within Teams, you can capture all of that within the Teams features so that it's all done there and then. And then, of course, um, after the what I was going to say, I beg your pardon. So after the meeting, you can also stay on track by kind of capturing what tasks were assigned to what attendee, what were the meeting notes, what were the actions. So all of that within Teams, shared to your attendees at the end of the session. The fact that you can surface that information through Teams or through Outlook. So whichever interface you're comfortable with, those kind of recap capabilities and so on, so that there are these kind of things make sure that your meeting engagements sessions are productive and focused, so that at the end of the meeting you're not left in the situation where who was meant to do what and by when and so on. So these features within Teams help you, kind of these fluid components make Teams a lot easier to create the agenda, assign tasks, create notes, and so on. And so in terms of creating meetings, we live in a world where if you're not, if I'm not the only one who's guilty of this, but it's very easy to be in a meeting, back-to-back meetings, and screen fatigue, things like that, will tend to contribute to that engagement and make things a bit difficult for you in terms of staying focused. So there are a lot of things that teams have got to kind of make the engagement more, make the meeting a bit more engaging, more inclusive. So things like the together mode, which allows you to present your attendees in a different view so that you can see them. You can not just, it's not just a voice, but you've got that visual connection. I mean, they do say that statistically communication is something like 80% nonverbal. So being able to read that body language is important so that you have that strong understanding that those points you discussing are coming across to your attendees. So having this together mode is another way, and what you're seeing is just one of the options. There are more kind of light-hearted ways to present to your attendees, not just the conference view that you're seeing in the video there, in the screen there. But also when it comes to presenting, you know, you want to be able to confidently present your slides, have your notes, and that's exactly what you can do. So with PowerPoint Live, which is a feature that you've got within Microsoft, you can launch Teams from PowerPoint, and with that, then you get the opportunity to present through PowerPoint, but to your audience in Teams. You'll still have access to your notes. You'll have access to see what slide is coming next. So these are the kind of things that make it a lot easier for the presenter, to make it easy for him or her to focus on the job and have the technology to support that experience. Then you can also do things like customize how you appear to your audience. So the bottom right here shows a little graphic whereby you can do things like have presenter mode or reporter mode. And what I mean by reporter is that you kind of appear in front of the content as a news presenter would do, so that you're kind of in front. So these are small changes, but maybe that's all it takes to kind of keep those attendees engaged and involved in the meetings. And then things like the screen layout, automatically resizing depending on how many people are on the call. And as you can see, if you present if you share your screen, you'll still be able to see the attendees wrapped around the image, as you can see in the bottom right GIF. So kind of different features here. I'm not saying embrace all of them, but it's all about using what makes sense for you to ensure that you have a successful engagement. So AI generated notes and tasks. So this is something that's coming with available with Teams Premium. So it's a premium feature. But what it does is quite effective. It's called intelligent recap. And what it is it's AI that will automatically generate notes from the meeting, beg your pardon, and it'll also automatically generate tasks. So if I'm in a meeting and I say, so Abby, is it okay for you? You said next week you'll have the proposal ready for partner Y. So because I've just verbally said that, AI will detect that, and then when it comes to recapping the notes, it will assign that task to Abby, and Abby will be notified about that. So this is using AI to recap your meeting notes, but also automatically assign tasks to attendees. So, but also other things like suppose you missed the meeting and you want to catch up on that meeting. So meeting chapters is a great way to kind of fast track to the areas of interest that you want to get information for. So a meeting AI will automatically kind of create chapters for the meeting based on the content, based on the conversation. It will intelligently break up those conversations into various sections. And that coupled with the fact that you're going to be creating an agenda beforehand, right? So it'll be using that information as well. But these are all ways to kind of increase efficiencies, increase that your collaboration and be more effective, be more productive. When it comes to webinars, you can hold interactive webinars for up to 10,000 up to 10,000 attendees with view only mode. So if you really have a whole bunch of people, yeah, Teams can handle that. But apart from the numbers, it can also do things like the registration experience. It's a lot more um, um, flexible and corporate and productive. So you can put some branding into your registration template that you send out to the attendees. So with a deadline, with a countdown to when the event is, to improve that onboarding and ensure that attendees do turn up because they've been given reminders, etc. But also things like during the meeting, you can, I beg your pardon, after the meeting, you've got statistics that give you insights as to who attended, and such forth. And what you can do as well is, because it integrates with CRM, it can, what you have here is the capability to integrate that information into CRM, so that when it comes to doing your post webinar events, like reaching out to the attendees for call to action, you already got that information in CRM. You already got your leads in CRM. So integrating with the other applications within M365 ensures that your webinar experience is productive for you as well, in terms of the organizer being able to follow up on those events. And then you can also, of course, with the webinar, you can do things like set it up so that it's only the attendees can only view. They can't talk if you don't want that feature, or you can disable the chat. So you can really tailor that webinar specific to what you're looking to do. And of course, from an admin perspective, you've got the ability to kind of report on that with the admin page, to kind of see how many people attended, and for how long, and who dropped off, or what have you. So you've got all those statistics to kind of help you have an effective next steps. And then going back to the performance side of things. So yes, we're all on the go when we can be on the go when we're attending meetings, or we're in different places. But what Microsoft have also got are things like AI-based noise suppression features, so that if you're taking a call, and as you can see, maybe you're in the kitchen and you've got your family in the background, you can still attend that with the reduced background noise capabilities. It ensures that you don't feel worried that you're disrupting the call because of the background noise, or you're maybe in a train or wherever. So those features are there to kind of help that experience. But also things like AI-based codec, to kind of ensure that if you're in an area with low bandwidth, that Microsoft will do the best it can to ensure that your message is clear, even when the bandwidth is struggling. So these kind of things it's all about improving that in performance, ensuring that that experience is still at a good, high, optimal level. And then at the top left, of course, security. You've got policies that you can apply, so that if if you have attendees that are in different parts of the world, you can create policies to ensure that your compliance is not compromised. So that's what the top left graphic is showing you. It's got that in its locker for sure. And then, of course, the admins again, beautiful dashboards. All admins love dashboards, showing attendee rates, performance rates, insights to how your teams is performing, to ensure that the quality is there and you can report against it. So daily, hourly trends, etc. And then telephony. So when it comes to Microsoft Team phones, yes, you can absolutely use Teams as your telephony solution, integrating calls with your flow of work. Unified features to ensure that, irrespective of whether you're calling from a desk phone or your laptop, or connecting to someone through the contact within Outlook, the experience is the same in terms of of that unified and simplified solution. It's a single app that kind of touches on different surfaces, or devices, I should say. So you can quickly call someone from a chat within Teams, or from a contact card within Outlook, or from the call on, or from your phone. So you don't have to think about, oh, I better connect to my phone. It's just that you see the contact and you click on the button to dial them, and they're there seamlessly. And it's very easy in terms of learning, and the learning curve is minimal, because we all know how to use a phone, right? So it's not rocket science. The great thing about it is that it's integrated. I'm just going to quickly show you this 1-minute video that illustrates some of the features I've spoken, and it'll also touch on a few more. Oh, okay. Just want to make sure I got a message in the chat. Are you able to see the video? As one of the colleagues is saying, nothing is happening.
Uh, Working for me, Tita.
Okay. Apologies. I'll just continue playing. Tony, I've got your note. We'll look to kind of reach out to you after. Apologies for that. I'll just continue playing it. Brilliant. So a lot of good features there. For me, the one that stands out is the kind of generic one, but staying connected irrespective where you are. So you don't have to think of, I need to pick up my phone or I need to log on to Teams. Wherever you are, you feel I need to contact someone, you just go ahead and do it because it's integrated with your desk phone, with your tablet, if you're an Outlook with your Outlook. So that kind of seamless connectivity to ensure that you're productive, and you don't have to kind of think about where you're calling from is good. But there are a lot of features there, and we can absolutely kind of go with you on your customer journey to kind of help you embrace the solutions. So that was a telephony piece. So let's just move on. And I just want to talk to you now about, how can M365 help you in terms of recruit, develop, and retain your key, all your employees, not just your key ones, all your staff. So, it's all about that experience and how the best. It's kind of a journey, and the first thing you kind of think of is how can I understand how my employees are working, what are their work patterns, and what Microsoft Viva Insight does is it kind of helps employees be more focused on their work or more productive. And it's not in a derogatory, of course not, because you know how you work, you have your objectives, but it's all about helping you be more productive. And what we mean by that is insights that will do things like look at your calendar and identify that the fact you've got loads of meetings next week and you've not booked any time to prepare, should I book some time for you? So it will kind of suggest that to you, and then you can accept it or decline it. If you accept it, it automatically blocks that time out in Outlook so that your coworkers know that you're preparing for your meetings. So it does things like that to kind of help you be more productive and be prepared for your meeting. So that's Viva Insight. And and with that, then that kind of helps you be more productive, more effective. And there's something for managers as well, and there's something for the organization as well, as in the CFO to kind of see how their organization is performing and what are the blockers, and if there are things that they're doing that may result in burnout because they do too many meetings or things like that. But then with Viva Goals, that's where we talk about the connectivity, to be able to see if what am I doing now? How does that relate to the objectives of the organization? We just attended the meeting for the financial year for the following financial year. I beg your pardon. What were the goals and objectives? But how can I see how the company is performing? How can I see how what I'm doing relates to those goals? So Viva Goals kind of visualizes those objectives and allows you to see them and see how they're performing. So in terms of that kind of Viva Insight, in terms of Viva Goals does that for you. And I'm just going to, just conscious of time, so I'm just going to show you the different offerings. So we've got Viva Connections, which is about that communication culture. So allow you to collaborate with your co-workers. You can create communities that and engage with those co-workers. So it can be hobbies, can be interests, things that allow employees to feel they're connected with their co-workers because through other areas of interest. So it's that collaboration environment. And of course, Viva Insights gives you that productivity and well-being, allowing you to be more productive with these suggestions that that it will position in terms of meetings, in terms of screen time, just to name a few. Then Viva Topics, knowledge expertise, is about being able to kind of easily identify content and individuals who can help you with various queries you have around your work. Viva Learning is that growth and development platform to easily capture, to easily attend courses on the go. It integrates with Teams, and it's a great way to kind of ensure your employees are up to speed because they can easily access learning material if their role is changing or if they want to get a certification. Viva Learning is that centralized place where you can access all your training needs. And then Viva Goals, as I said earlier on, again, integrates through Teams. So you can see what the FY 23-24 objectives were for the organization. You can see how it's performing throughout the year. You can see how your objectives are aligned to that. And that will give your employees a sense of identity, a sense of purpose, because they know that what they're doing is aligned with the organization, and clarity and transparency as well. If I'm a CFO, I want my employees and my team to see exactly how we're doing easily without, without having to search for that presentation or that email with all the objectives. It's integrated in Teams, so you can check in as and when you wish. So that's what we talk about Viva Goals. It's all about that employee experience. These are the kind of things that will ensure that your employees are retained because they have learning capabilities through Viva Learning, or they have a purpose because they can see through Viva Goals what they're doing, how it contributes to the organization, or they might be the insights that will allow them to organize their working day more effectively and reduce things like burnout, or might be topics to search for information. So there's a lot of things that Viva can do to enhance your employee experience and retain your top talent, and even recruit other people, right? So because good news spreads easily. Again, this is kind of reiterating the insights. And not only does it identify working patterns, but it also provides actionable recommendations, whether you're a manager, a leader, or an individual employee. It provides structured and informative insights to help you be more productive. And then Viva Goals, as I said earlier on, pretty much what I said in terms of being able to get that visibility into bringing goals into the flow of everyday work. So being able to see what you're doing today, how does it map to the company's objectives and priorities for the financial year, and so on. And then spending more time with customers. So this is about the Power Platform, which is basically solutions that allow you to act, automate, and I can't remember the third A. There are three A's. I can't remember it. Apologies, but it's all about being more effective with your data, being able to do things. Can you do things more automated instead of manual, eliminating manual processes? And whether it's through Power BI or Power Automate or Power Virtual Agents, these are all solutions that will do those kind of things. So it'll give you insights to your data. It'll give you, you'll be able to automate things like an invoice approval process. Instead of manually capturing that information, you can use Power Automate to capture the invoice and paste it in your CRM. So automatically you're freeing up the time of the individual who's doing that manually. Or maybe you're already invested in a holiday booking solution by a third party. Well, within the Power Platform, you can also create these holiday booking solutions. So if that's a way of being more effective by reducing the spend on your licenses and making the most of your investment. But again, the key thing that Power Platform offers is that effectiveness, is that freeing yourself to be more productive because you're doing less mundane, repetitive tasks. And again, absolutely can talk to you about this in terms of the follow-up actions from this webinar. So I'm going at it at a high level, but believe you me, there's a lot it can do. So you can see here some of the things it's doing, whether it's simple automation through Outlook, or whether it's, whether you're building a Power App from an Excel sheet, so that, a simple use case, multiple people are accessing Excel. You want a solution that can allow people to do that in a structured way. Why don't create a Power App which can allow people to put information into that Excel spreadsheet in an efficient and effective way? You can connect with a lot of connectors. So if you need to connect to data sources that are not within that are that are third-party applications, it can do that. It's all about automating your use case, automating the way you're working so that things are done automatically and things are captured and stored in an efficient way. So that kind of brings me to the end of my section. And what I'm going to do now is pass you over to my colleague Nicole, who will talk you through the rest of the capabilities of the M365 products. Over to you, Nicole.
Thanks, Tita. So I'll be continuing on with essentially Endpoint Manager and the security suite of products. And to continue on the different scenarios on enabling flexibility, this is essentially the next, I guess, step to be able to enable flexibility in a hybrid work environment. And to do that, you need expertise in 4 key areas. First, you have to prepare your workforce to be productive, and that means creating a secure, productive hybrid work environment. Microsoft Endpoint Analytics can help you create that solid base. Next, you'll need to find a way to efficiently manage feature and security updates. I'll touch on AutoPatch in a bit, but AutoPatch automates updates across Windows and M365 to minimize administration effort and allowing you to redeploy your resources of your IT teams. Remote work means an increased need to protect your users' endpoints. However, this can come at the expense of productivity. So using Microsoft Endpoint Manager helps you reduce the time spent deploying and managing new software, taking up less of your IT support team's valuable time, and also contributing to that zero trust strategy, which I'll also touch on a bit later with the security products. Finally, how do you continue to engage and inspire your teams in a hybrid working world? The Microsoft Adoption Score enables you to direct your teams and to take action on those insights to see who is effectively using the capabilities within the Microsoft suite. The world of hybrid work is evolving as it's been for the last few years, and it's bringing new challenges to endpoint management. Remote workers are reporting that it takes days, sometimes even weeks, to get a problem fixed on their endpoints. Ensuring data security is a top challenge in supporting end user productivity on any device working from any location. Remote workers also say that they have access to their corporate resources, but not to everything they need at all times. So we need to ensure security and compliance across multiple devices and across users sitting in different locations, essentially. That's not moving forward. Really?
Yeah, let's move forward now.
Yeah.
Cool.
It took a bit of a moment to think there. So let's have a look at the Endpoint Manager's built-in protection capabilities. So with Endpoint Manager, you can protect your company data using conditions and controls on who can access what data, who can access what applications. This is through conditional access. Ensuring devices and apps are compliant using compliance policies that you define within Intune or Endpoint Manager. Preventing and detecting security breaches, and this is mainly with the seamless integration with Defender for Endpoint. So they talk to each other to make sure you're preventing breaches before anything is accessed. Proactively remediating vulnerabilities, and this is again through Endpoint Manager by discovering vulnerabilities and misconfigurations in real time with sensors and not with agents or scans or anything like that. You can monitor the status of the progress of remediation activities across any device at any time. Within the toolkit as well, Microsoft Endpoint Manager allows you to deploy with zero touch. So simplify and speed up deployments of applications, of software updates, of operating systems for desktops, for servers, for laptops, for on-prem or for cloud. This also includes remote deployment and management of Office or Microsoft Office, including the updates and the settings of those applications. So you can also manage your digital estate health, user experience insights that help you improve productivity, user impact assessments of when you make big configuration changes and allowing you to optimize the end user experience, the ability to proactively make improvements to devices by identifying policies or hardware issues that may be slowing them down beforehand, and also those automatic updates to manage the software update process with manual, automatic, and phased deployment scenarios and in the moment. So, like, auto patch is going to be quite an important part of that. So, Windows Auto Patch is a service to basically optimize Windows and Office update deployment. And this is essentially to make sure Windows and Office are always up to date. What I'll do is, instead of trying to explain this, I'll show a quick video on what auto patch is about, and then we will continue from there. So that, in essence, is auto patch. But yeah, there's a lot more detail around that, which we can certainly chat about in other sessions with us. To continue on, we have to, of course, touch on the security elements. We've talked to a lot of different customers of different sizes in different industries, and a common theme that we've heard is that security has never been more important. Everyone is feeling the effects of cyber attacks in some way, and they're becoming more frequent and sophisticated, as evidenced by attacks like Nobilium or Hafnium Colonial Pipeline. So those ransomware attacks and phishing attacks have increased by 100-fold. And hundreds of password attacks are carried out every single day. Nation state attacks are also on the rise, and they're often too well resourced and sophisticated to be blocked 100%. We've also heard about the pressures to secure multi-cloud IT environments. It introduces a lot of complexity for security and compliance teams, trying to safeguard identities and devices and data and applications all across different cloud environments. Another consistent theme is that the increasingly complex regulatory landscape makes it difficult to understand where the risks really lie. And the impact of those risks for organizations is traditionally less regulated industries. So these are the top three trends that we see. And if you couple all of these with challenges around the skills shortages and budgets being tightened, business leaders facing tougher choices, about security more than ever before. Now, we can't really, nowadays especially, talk about security without talking about zero trust. I know it's kind of buzzwordy at the moment, but the principles, in essence, are quite important. And just in case there's some of you not familiar, it's a quick video to explain what zero trust is. And then we'll continue to show how the Microsoft products support a zero trust strategy. So that was zero trust at a high level, and there are five key security challenges that may be familiar to all of you if you're looking at a zero trust strategy. Um, First, it's going to be how you protect your identities, how you understand whether there's a user risk or a sign-in risk. Um, Modernizing security and defending against threats. So, how are you monitoring for threats? Are you securing your emails, your cloud applications, your endpoints, IoT devices? So that's getting even more and more complicated and centralizing those events and alerts into one place. How you're securing your cloud infrastructure, Azure or multi-cloud infrastructure, for example. And this is where we start to see solutions like Defender for Cloud starting to play a more important role. Um, Protecting and governing sensitive data, this is getting a lot more complicated, especially when data is dispersed. It's not all sitting in M365, for example, and controlling the life cycle of that data, whether it should be retained, whether it should be deleted. That's an ongoing thing that we often think customers struggle with to try and manage and get ahead of. And also managing and investigating risk in general, not just user risk, device risks, but also insider risks, data leakage risks. There's so many things that we have to try and keep an eye on. But what we'll do is cover, unfortunately, at a high level, because these products can take me, I think, 3 hours if I talk about all of them in full. But certainly reach out to us if you'd like to go into more detail. But I'll cover the the high level products of the Microsoft Defender solutions and how they support a zero trust strategy. So to kick things off, Microsoft Defender and Microsoft Sentinel are Microsoft's XDR and SIEM solutions, so security, incidents, and events management solution. They deliver threat protection for identities, for email, for data, for applications, and as well as cloud security to protect your cloud workloads, regardless of which platforms you're on. They've done a good job there by not just thinking about Azure, but being able to secure AWS and Google Cloud as well from within Defender for Cloud. Sorry. So just to dive a little bit deeper there, the Microsoft approach is really to understand both the breadth and depth of your entire estate. And looking at everything that's going from end to end. I'll just build out the slide so we can get everything on screen. There we go. So the breadth approach is delivered with Microsoft Sentinel, which is the SIEM solution that I referred to earlier. And it's aggregating all of the logs from your sources, either from OSs, from applications, from your antivirus databases, from server logs, and analyzes large quantities of data from within Sentinel, searching for anomalies and searching for signs of threat. The depth approach is delivered through Microsoft 365 Defender and Microsoft Defender for Cloud. So XDR, also something that we're talking more about, and you'll hear vendors talking more about as well, is an emerging technology in threat protection that helps address the need for security operations teams to increase efficiency and effectiveness and get ahead of threats across multiple systems, across multiple infrastructures. So we're seeing endless alerts from different security products, making it very difficult for anybody who's like an analyst or somebody defending against these threats to link them effectively across each other and to contain those threats effectively as well. So what XDR delivers is an intelligent, automated, and integrated security solution to close gaps in the prevention, detection, and response of security incidents. So, in essence, the comprehensive XDR solution from Microsoft is a combination of these features of Microsoft 365 Defender, where you'll see email or Office security, cloud app security, or what it's now called Defender for Cloud Apps, Defender for Endpoint, but also importantly, Sentinel and Defender for Cloud, all talking to each other and working together to make an effective XDR solution work. As well as taking the breadth and depth approach to security, Microsoft are also applying an incredible amount of data to these products to help, drive faster insights and get better accuracy using machine learning to be able to detect and monitor for threats. So even though we know Microsoft is one of the largest vendors, it's probably the most targeted vendor in the world. Because it's the largest and most targeted vendor, they have quite a large threat intel database. They're seeing what's happening in and around the world. So they don't just ignore that. They use that threat intel and feed it into the products. And that's giving quite a lot of insights and information in being able to detect and prevent threats. But yeah, I could go on a rampage talking about the Defender products, but I won't do that to you today. But in essence, Microsoft tap into the knowledge of thousands of researchers, all of that intel to understand trends that are happening, new attacks, unique attacks, and apply that insight and information and data to all of their products. So, sorry, frog in my throat there. But in essence, this is what the defending against threats, I guess, piece is these products working together. To continue on, a new product in the Microsoft family. So Microsoft Entra is the name of a new product for identity and access solutions. So they've had this vision for identity and access for ages, and what they're trying to do is go beyond traditional identity management to give customers a tool set that can secure access for everyone in whatever cloud environment, in whatever platform. So what they're using to do this, firstly, is Azure AD. It remains the main solution for securing access for employees, customers, or partners. It will continue to be the foundational infrastructure for all new products as well, going forward within Microsoft Entra. There's also Microsoft Entra Permissions Management, which is a cloud infrastructure entitlement management solution. And this is giving really, really good visibility into permissions that are assigned to identities, regardless of where these identities are. So either in Azure AD or in AWS or Google Cloud. And like overprivileged workload and user identities, actions, resources across multi-cloud infrastructures, like I mentioned in Google Cloud, AWS, GCP, Entra Permissions Management is detecting and automatically right-sizing and continuously monitoring unused or excessive permissions that are applied in these different environments. Quite important if you're looking at zero trust, that element of least privilege. The permissions management function is doing that by making sure you're not oversubscribing or overgiving permissions to your different user accounts. So it's a single platform to manage permissions of all identities across all major cloud platforms. Also, a part of Entra is something called Verified ID, which is essentially a managed service for verifiable credentials. It provides you with a scalable, standards-based way to issue and verify digital credentials with end users or with other organizations as part of an identity verification process. So things like onboarding, secure access to apps, account recovery, verified ID, you can easily and more securely verify workplace credentials, education status, certifications, or any other unique identity attributes as well, while also respecting the privacy of the end user who can own and control that identity. Plus, the entire product family can be managed from one admin center. I think it's called entra.microsoft.com, where they're putting all of these identity features into one place to make it quite easy for you to secure access and manage that for everyone and everything. What I do have to say about Entra, though, is the product suite is not licensed as a part of E3 and E5, so you certainly have to keep an eye on that. So if you've got Azure AD, that's absolutely fine, but to use permissions management or verified ID, that is an separate cost outside of the M365 licensing that you would have to consider. A bit cheeky from them, but we'll not get into that. So just to touch on again that Microsoft Entra is a product family of these three products: Azure Active Directory, permissions management by enforcing least privilege in Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud, and also Entra Verified ID, like we covered earlier. Next in the product suite is Microsoft Purview solutions, and these essentially are to help customers govern, protect, and manage data across both Microsoft and non-Microsoft assets. So understanding and governing data is it's so important for us to be able to establish the foundation for effective data governance and usage. Once you discover and map information in your organization, you can then put the right data sharing and usage policies in place. Now that when the data is identified, you also need to ensure that it's secured and do things like apply sensitivity labels or classifications, create protection policies to prevent accidental data sharing. And as threats can come from both outside and inside, you'll see within Purview, they're increasingly investing in identifying and remediating risks, and in particular insider risks, policy violations, and regulatory requirements as well. Just build up this slide. So when you have an integrated approach from processes and tools and people to protect, prevent, and manage your data, you can secure all your data, in particular your sensitive data, within the Purview toolset. There's a number of assumptions there around where your data is sitting, hopefully in M365, but they are finding ways of building what's called data connectors, so you can try and connect data from outside sources to apply consistent policies with Purview. But data is living in so many different tools, different apps, different data warehouses, and each data has its own life cycle. So what we're seeing with Purview is that you can learn and get to know all of your data, regardless of where it lives within your tenant, and prevent that data from unauthorized use, managing and preventing risks associated with internal users and possibly external. And in conjunction, proactive prevention measures that you can use to avoid, reacting when data is being compromised. So they've got quite a few interesting things within the Purview toolset, but it starts with discovering and identifying your most sensitive data. Is it PII? Is it employee data or patient data, intellectual property? Understanding where it lives and who has access and making sure it's labeled in that way. Preventing data loss by doing things like DLP policies that make the most sense to protect unauthorized use of high priority data, making sure that your users are able to access the data that they need, but prevent activity that goes against your policies, managing potential internal risks, insider threats like data exfiltration, data leakage, departing employees, for example, and empowering the security teams or the IT teams to tackle those risks head on with the right set of products. And you'll see if we do chat at another time, go into the detail of how exactly they're doing the insider risk management and preventing that data exfiltration. It's quite interesting, quite unique there. Priva is another one. So this is really about privacy management, and it's become quite an important topic amongst customers driven by GDPR mainly. But what Priva is the new capability that Microsoft introduced to provide you with a set of tools to manage privacy and build a privacy resilient workspace by identifying and remediating privacy risks and automating privacy operations and responses to subject rights requests, for example. So it's in two components. The first that you see there is privacy management, which helps you safeguard personal information and manage privacy risks. And then the subject rights requests, which helps you manage subject rights requests at scale, in effect. Microsoft plan to keep investing in this product line and induce more capabilities to this, but it's really quite interesting to see when you go into Priva, if you click data profiles, it will show you exactly where in Teams, where in SharePoint, where in Exchange there is personal information and what that personal information is, which is quite good. So like I referenced, the privacy element has become more important with GDPR. More of us are aware of it and trying to manage it. But viewing that data inventory and collecting all of that data is certainly quite complicated. So what they've done is build out this product set to specifically help with the privacy element and managing those subjects rights requests. It will show you the personal data you have in an unstructured environment, but also provide insights to help you better protect that data as well. Like the first step is being able to discover that personal data and then automatically look at how that data can be secured in a more efficient and better way. So it's quite useful, quite interesting in terms of the functionality available to you. But I do have to say again, unfortunately, they've made Priva a separate product sitting outside of the M365 licensing. So even if you have an E5, you wouldn't be able to access Priva. It's a separate cost, but you will still see it in your Purview portal or in Compliance Center. But yeah, again, I can't go into too much detail. I'm conscious of time as well. But if you want to chat more about these tools, then we can certainly get that organized after the session. So some of the next steps, just a reminder around who Bytes are. There's a number of people, expertise, offering different services and technology services across modern workplace, hybrid infrastructure and cybersecurity. People like Tita and myself, and a number of other people to help you figure out, with do more with less, whether that makes sense for you, how it helps, or how it can be improved with your current investments, either in Microsoft or with other vendors, your different use cases and whether those make sense. Tita and I have those discussions and debates every day, but basically we're here to help you support with those discussions and conversations and strategies around adopting some of these technologies and solutions. Other things that you can get some help with from us to understand your Microsoft investments is Quantum 365. So get some visibility on unassigned licenses, for example, or underutilized licenses, and where you can maybe review and reharvest those licenses to present to other users. Quite a lot of optimization recommendations there as well. But if you've got Power BI already, there is a free version from Microsoft that can give you some licensing insights. I think it's called Microsoft 365 Usage Analytics. And you can get some data on your license utilization and management there. If you have Azure through us, there is another cool tool called Quantum for Azure, and this is free for any customer that has Azure with us to get that visibility on your Azure consumption, how it can be optimized, how you can save in terms of those subscription costs. So absolutely, utilize this if your Azure is with us, and hopefully can be helpful in managing your Azure consumption and costs as well. Targeted more to medium to large enterprises is a commercial advisory service, which is quite a detailed and in-depth digital transformation planning workshop, as you'll see. So you'll spend time with our consultants to go through all the details of what you've invested technology-wise, where the Microsoft toolset sits, where the other vendors sit, where there's potential for savings depending on your use cases. But it's quite a complex, involved service, but it is there if you want to try and, get on top of that digital transformation piece of work. And it includes things like, creating a business strategy for the next few years and doing that commercial cost modeling. So quite a good service, again, targeted mainly for medium to large enterprises there, but can be massively useful. And then lastly, some of the Microsoft workshops that are available. If you reach out to us, we can confirm, I'm sure they're available to everybody, but we can confirm if you qualify for them for free. And anything you want to get a more detailed workshop on, just reach out and we can certainly get that arranged. And these all touch on some of the elements we've talked on today, but go into a little bit more depth to show you how they could apply to you. So it's a much longer engagement that will be specific to yourselves, and you can see how some of these products will work and benefit you in the longer term. I'll take a quick peek at the chat. I don't see any questions, but I'll pause for a moment if they are. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Hopefully that was useful. And if you have any questions or if you'd like to chat about any of these things in a little bit more detail, or just reach out and certainly we'll be happy to help with that. Like we said, some of these tools we had to do all of it in the space of an hour and 15 minutes, but really just talking about Defender takes me an hour and 15 minutes. So anything you'd like to get more detailed information on, please do let us know, and we'd be happy to have chats with you separately on that. Otherwise, also there'll be a poll. I see it's already come up. Please do answer the polls and give your feedback. We always do appreciate the feedback and make sure these sessions are useful. So please do let us know. And I think that's all from me. Hopefully everybody has a good rest of the week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.